The very first thing we must believe and receive in the gospel, and one of the hardest things for us, is that God's love for us is unconditional. This means he puts no conditions on it for him to love us. Most of us read our Bible as being very conditional, and we're also conditional in our thinking and the way we love others, too. We even read rules and conditions into the New Testament. Now, as a lawyer, I can tell you we're all very legal-minded. This is why, as a lawyer, the gospel is such an awesome revelation to me, and it's why I call myself the gospel coach. The New Testament gospel is a revelation to us of all that God has done for us, and all that he's doing for us now, and all he plans to do for us. It's not about us, it's about God. And we're told that God does for us is more than our minds can even think or imagine. This is why we're told that our work or our job is simply to believe what Jesus says. And he says to only believe his gospel, which he explains in his parables. The more we think the Bible is written to us as a set of rules or laws, the less we know and receive God's love for us. This is because any type of law or rule shows us what is wrong with us. But the gospel shows us what is right about us in Jesus. This is because of God's grace and the finished work of the cross of Jesus. This is why you can't combine the Old and New Testaments. Paul says to rightly divide them and to separate them. Paul's whole ministry was to proclaim the gospel of the grace of God. So Paul always compared the old and new. He did not combine them. In the new covenant, the gospel says that all things are made totally new from what they were in the old. He says when we try to understand the New Testament by using the Old Testament in any way, it's like we have a blanket over our hearts. We can't receive the free things of God. We don't understand. This comes of knowing God's love, and we must begin there. The Old Testament law demanded from us what it could not produce. And Peter says everyone who tried to live it failed. But Paul agrees and says that no one was righteous in the Old Testament, no one understood the ways of God or how to connect with God. The New Testament gospel causes us to know God's love deep inside and all of the gifts and blessings he gives us, and to know that his love does not depend on what we do. His love for us is all because of our belief and our trust in Jesus. When we know this, then we become like little children, as Jesus says to do. And when we trust him and live his gospel, it can reveal even more of Abba Father's love.